we got quite a few people on this call, and we're going to be recording it also. So we're going to get this over to all of you. And this is a great opportunity. I'm really looking forward to this. You know, we had this survey that we did, and Jeff, I don't even know if you know this, and Chris, we did the survey, and we had more people that wanted to know about travel than they did with estate planning. So this is
we are usually the most popular group in the room.
Yes. So we're excited to have you guys here, and you're the best of the best in this industry. So we're fortunate and blessed to partner with you guys. And I want to, before I introduce you, we're going to talk about Jeff, and Chris is going to talk about travel, and he's going to really tell what other people are doing around the country and how they utilize his firm. So I'm excited about that. And again, we came to meet Jeff and Chris from a good friend of ours that has been using them for quite some time. He's an advisor in Orlando, and told me how excited all the clients were to really utilize their services and their talents. So we introduced ourselves, and we met over in Naples, and now we are officially together. And he's going to talk a little bit about their services and what they can do to enhance your retirement. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring on Jeff and Chris.
Thank you, Alfie. Thank you, Tommy, and the team at ARG. My new friends, it's a pleasure to meet each of you. And I just want to start by saying, Alfie, thank you for the opportunity to work with your long-term clients at ARG. We understand that there's a lot of trust that's been established between Alfie, the ARG team, and clients, and to introduce us into the client structure or client relationships is important, and we carefully guard that. We respect it, and I just want to say publicly, will honor them and take good care of them, because we understand we're an extension and reflection of ARG. So thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jeff Lavender. I'm the founder and CEO, and I've described myself as the Chief Experience Officer for Travel Concierge by Jeff Lavender. And Chris Potter, who is joining us as well. She's our head of marketing and partner relationships. And we have a couple of other team members on the call, although you won't see their videos. We have Lana Herzon and Kathy Myers, some of our client experience designers. We're a company based all over the United States. I happen to live in San Diego. Chris is in New Jersey. Kathy is in Orlando. Lana's in Auburn, California, and we have others placed around the United States. While we're going through this today, and we'll take about 45, 50 minutes, there is an opportunity for you to ask questions. If you like, everybody's on mute, so we wouldn't unmute you until the end. But if you do have questions, up at the top of Teams, you'll see a Q&A, and you can click on that and just type your question in. And as we move forward, we'll respond to those if we can. And this is all being recorded. And after the webinar is finished, in about a day or so, you'll receive a link to this, and you can rewatch it if you care to do that. So very, very good. We're really going to cover a couple of areas today. You know, we set this and described it in terms of maximizing your travel investment. Alfie and I have been talking, and I said, Alfie, you're the experts in helping people build their wealth, guard their wealth, and we're going to help them wisely spend their wealth on travel. And I mean that somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but I certainly don't mean it to be disrespectful to anyone here. But travel is desired by 85% of wealth management clients. So as Alfie saw when they surveyed the ARG database, there was a lot of interest in travel. And no matter your age, whether you're in career or still working or retiring, travel's part of our DNA. It's who we are. It's what we love to do. It changes us. So there's always a lot of interest in terms of the travel marketplace, what's happening, and how to maximize it. And what I really wanted to start off with today is just offer you a perspective on what's happening in travel generally, and then take you through 5 tips of the day that we'd like you to consider as you think about your travel investment. And these days, travel is an investment. It's an investment not only of your money, but your time, and I like to say your dreams, and oftentimes your relationships. Post-COVID, travel has absolutely exploded. Prior to COVID, 2019 was the highest year in terms of travel spend worldwide. Of course, it dived or dove in 2020, 2021. It started to recover in 2022 and 2023. We are now in 2024 back to pre-2019 levels, and the entire world has opened up. Asia's back, China's back, the United States is back, and there has been a pent-up demand for the last 2 or 3 years in terms of purchasing travel. I think there was also a psychological shift in travel in the sense that we all realized there was a restriction that happened in our ability to move around. And a lot of people are saying, you know what, I want to make sure I'm taking those trips and having those experiences. I don't want to be restricted again. That has driven an explosion in travel costs. I don't know if any of you have been online recently and looked at hotel costs or airfare costs or cruise costs. They continue to grow and will continue to do so. 2 reasons. Number one, the demand is there. Every flight, I'm sure those of you who have been traveling, has been full. Airports are packed. Cruises are sailing at 100%. And so there's huge demand. And although we like to think as Americans, and we are the largest market in the world, don't forget Europeans are traveling, the Brits are traveling, the Chinese are traveling, the Asians are traveling, the Australians are traveling. So we're not just competing for these products as Americans, we're competing around the world. Everybody wants to go to the Amalfi Coast or visit Italy or take a particular trip. Why does that matter, though? Costs are rising and they're going to continue to rise. Hang on here. Just admitting
I got
somebody else. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. So with that in mind, I wanted to share some ideas that we found have worked very much for clients. They're quite simple concepts, but they can help you, I think, maximize the budgets that you each have set aside for what you're going to spend in travel in the years ahead. The first thing is what we call multi-year planning. Most individuals, when they plan a trip, it's a one-time thing. This year, we're going to do this. Next year, we're going to do that. But oftentimes people plan a trip, take a trip, and then at a future point, plan the next one. Because there is such demand and because things are selling out even into 2025 and well into 2026, the idea of taking your bucket list or your wish list, as I would say, for travel and sharing that with us or thinking it through on your own and working out to say, okay, our plan for 2024 is X, our plan for 2025 is Y, our plan for 2026 is Z. And we understand things change, and I'll explain that in a second. Generally, most clients take one big trip a year and 2 or 3 small trips. Some clients take 2 large trips a year and then 2 or 3 small trips. But by thinking ahead and locking in some dates into your calendar, a couple of things happen. Number one, you lock in the cost. You lock in the price. Number 2, you lock in your preferred dates. Number 3, you lock in your preferred cabins or accommodations along the way. And we will often have clients come to us and give us their entire bucket list. And we work with them in a 1 to 3 to 5 year time frame. And again, I do want to point out, we understand that life changes. You're not locked into doing these things, but you're beginning to think them through. It's not dissimilar to working with your wealth advisor on a 1, 3, 5, or 10-year financial plan. It's very similar. The second part of this is to use deposits strategically. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. River cruising is very, very popular. Most people generally do river cruising in Europe. and some further afield destinations, and they tend to book between 9 and 12 months in advance. Did you know that you could confirm your river trip for 2024, 2025, or 2026 with the deposit of $400 per person? That's it. You can hold space now, lock in the price from price increases over the next couple of years, lock in the dates, and should you need to cancel, the cancellation fee is a modest $200, and final payment is not due until 4 to 5 months prior to the time that you travel. So, for example, if you're thinking a river cruise or an ocean cruise, by the way, or a land program or an Antarctica trip or an Arctic Circle type of thing, you can hold space generally as low as $400 per person, depending on the company. And for cruises, the deposit rates tend to be between 10 and 15%, sometimes higher. But the point is, with very little investment now, you have all of this benefit: dates, preferred sailing, preferred pricing, preferred cabin, and no other financial commitment until at least 4 to 5 months before you travel. So this kind of fits into the multi-year thinking: hold space for things that you would like to do and place a deposit in order to secure them. And generally, again, in most instances, the cancellation penalties are very, very minimal. If you, for example, booked a Silver Sea cruise for late fall of 2025, and you were to cancel, all of your money comes back. $200 of it, they give you all your money back, and $200 comes back to you in the form of a future credit. So multi-year planning, think ahead, share your thoughts, use deposits strategically in order to hold space and to guarantee pricing. Make sense? And by the way, what I like to say with our clients is, if a lot of people will say, we're thinking about a trip to so-and-so. We're thinking about a Greece cruise or Norwegian fjords or a river trip or an Asia something. My rule of thumb is, if you think there's greater than a 50% chance you'll go, place the deposit. If it's still totally in your head that you're just not that sure, don't bother. But if you think it's likely, go ahead and hold space. And then again, you can lock everything in. My third kind of tip of the day is stay longer, do more. Why do I say that? If you've been online and looked at airline pricing, it's astronomical. For example, most of you, I understand most of Alfie's clients are Southwest Florida or middle part of the United States for the most part. Round trip business class tickets to Europe, $4,000 to $5,000 per person. Generally, 2 people are traveling. Just getting there is costing you $10,000. Business. Premium economy, $5,000. Regular economy, a bit less. But a lot of people these days are traveling business for the flatbeds and just the convenience and all the other features that are in that. Think about that. Just to get to these destinations, $10,000, never mind what it's going to cost you while you're on the ground. The old way of thinking some years ago was, this year we'll do Italy. Next year we'll do the UK. Next year we'll do Scotland. Change that up. If you're going to be spending that much money to get to a destination, do 2 things. Stay longer. Most Americans tend to travel and have about 9 to 10 days off, and therefore we've limited our vacations to the week to 10-day type of idea. For retired folks, a little bit longer. Other parts of the world have more time. But if you can, maximize the investment you're making in travel expense or airfares.
So we like to call this, Jeff, if I may, we like to call this multi-itinerary planning versus the multi-year planning. I think, Jeff, it'd be really helpful if you gave an example of what one of those itineraries could look like.
Thanks, Chris. I think that's right. So there's multi-year planning and there's multi-itinerary planning. Good example are some clients that are booked to do a river cruise from Basel to Amsterdam in September, but also wanted to do an in-depth tour of Switzerland. And so they added that particular piece of their trip in. Some of our more exotic clients who were going further afield were visiting India as well as Nepal. Other individuals, we had some clients last year that, and they lived in the southeast of the United States, or I believe it was in Texas, and their instructions to us was, it's really hot in the southeast or Texas this time of year. We like to be gone in the summertime. So we put 2 or 3 pieces of a trip together for them in Alaska, as well as in the San Juan Islands. And so they did they're somewhat active clients, and so they did a biking trip with a company called Backroads in the San Juan Islands. And then they did an expedition kind of learning trip up to the Inside Passage. And then they finished up with another cruise coming from Anchorage back to Vancouver. And so their trip was 3 weeks in duration, but they put a number of those pieces together in order to do things back to back. But again, I think this idea of think more broadly so that the dollars that you're spending are wisely used and you're getting the maximum amount, particularly from airfare. The other thing will point out these days is that another trend that has occurred, particularly in the cruise space, is they're including everything. They pick you up at your home and drive you to the airport. They include your economy or your business class air to the destination. They transfer you to the ship. Everything on the ship is included, along with your excursions, your tips, your Wi-Fi, all of your food, your shore trips, your flights home, etc. And so one of the ways, again, you can kind of economize or maximize is to look at what I'll call all-inclusive products, not only in the cruise industry, but as well in some other parts of travel. So just to kind of recap, multi-year thinking, strategic use of deposits, stay longer, do more, and multi-itinerary planning. The fourth piece of the puzzle that we think is important as you maximize your travel investment is the product travel insurance. I always like to say travel insurance is probably the least sexy part of a trip. I live in California. I hate paying my earthquake insurance premium, but I'm glad I have it. We have fire, kind of where I am in Southern California. So we have that kind of fire insurance. Those of you in Florida, hurricane insurance and flood insurance can be expensive, but it protects the investment that you made. It's the same thing in travel. And these days, again, we're seeing trips that are costing $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 or more. And travel insurance protects you. It protects you in the event you need to cancel your trip or something happens while you're on your trip and you need to come home early. If you have some particular medical issues, or in worst cases, kind of need to be evacuated coming home. And it's to plan for the unexpected, and it's not necessarily inexpensive, but it's not extortionate in terms of cost. But in your overall investment of planning your annual travel budget, don't forget to think about travel insurance. And we can talk you through all of this in terms of travel insurance thinking. I did a webinar about 2 weeks ago on everything you need to know about travel insurance. And if you would like a copy of that, by the way, if you have any questions or want to get a note to me while we're online, just quickly send me an email, jeff@jefflavender.com, and just say, I want the travel insurance webinar information. And that's 60 minutes just on information related to travel insurance and how to maximize and how to invest in that particular piece. We can work you through how your credit cards may have travel insurance coverages as well, so that you can save money. You don't necessarily need to over-insure because you have protection in the travel insurance space. And fifthly, kind of comes down to what is the value of working with a travel advisor? So let me explain kind of what travel advisors do. I've been doing this since I was just a little kid, which was a very, very long time ago. And in those days when I grew up, there were actually travel agencies that you walked into. And there was no internet, and travel agents took care of everything for you. The travel industry is still here. For the most part, agents work from home offices, but there are well over 20,000, if not more, just in the United States, taking care of our clients around the United States. So the travel agent or travel advisor industry is alive and well. It's just that you don't necessarily find them on the street corners. Every now and then you'll find a store that you can walk into, but travel advisors for the most part are home-based and home workers, like our company is. We essentially are, I like to say that many of the skills that a wealth advisor has are also what a travel advisor has. We think strategically, we think wisely, we are careful in a sense with your money and how it should be spent and what we can recommend to you. Sometimes clients will say to me, why do I need to work with an advisor? And oftentimes I'll say, maybe you don't. You can manage your own money. I don't manage my own because I'm not that good at it. I need an expert like Alfie and his team. And quite frankly, I'd rather put our assets in the hand of experts who know the industry, know where they can find the products I need, and can take, at least for me, a lot of the emotion out of financial management. A lot of people can manage a house reconstruction project and be on their own general contractor. What a nightmare. I have no interest in doing anything related to managing our home or our particular investments in that type of thing. It's the same thing in travel. Think about it. You're going to be investing significant sums of money. Those of you who have looked at planning your own trips, do you know that an average individual spends 15 to 20 hours, if not more, and visits anywhere from 10 to 20 websites when they are planning their flights, the tours, the cruise, the excursions, the insurance, and it can become overwhelming as well as frustrating. We're here to work you through and advise you in a collaborative nature in the same way you would work with an interior designer or a general contractor or a wealth advisor or a real estate agent. You can sell your home on your own. Who would want to? I want an expert in order to help us. And just like in the wealth advisory world, as travel advisors, and I'm part of a multi-billion-dollar organization called Virtuoso. Virtuoso is the world leader in luxury travel. Because of our buying power, we have access to products, services, and amenities you're unlikely to find elsewhere. Alfie and I were talking earlier today about annuity products, for example, and he has access to things in his portfolio that might not be available to the general public. It's actually the same thing in travel. We have access to special pricing, special inventory. For all of the things that you book through a travel advisor, we can arrange upgrades, free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, in-person dollar credits for your account, make sure that your mileage is appropriate, used and credited with points, etc. And so the value of as an advisor is not just our expertise, knowing the destinations, knowing the suppliers, directing your purchase based on your style, your budget, your timing. It also has to do with all of the other value points that you would want to consider as you're purchasing travel. The other thing that many people often question us about is, well, there must be a fee, right? Generally, 90% of the time, there is no charge for our services. Why is that? We're compensated through commissions that we receive from the travel companies that we represent. That doesn't mean you pay more to use us. you can pick up the phone and call Silver Sea Cruises or Alma Waterways or a number of companies, and I just use those as examples today, and ask for a price on a particular trip. And you'll get a price for that. If you were to call me, it would essentially be the same thing. There isn't a markup to use our services. And in fact, many times, depending on the supplier and the destination, we may have access to inventory or pricing that is less than what you would find online. That's not all the time, but it is in some instances. And so there is no monthly fee. There is no annual fee for us to manage your business or your travel. Where trips get a very, very finely detailed, and it might be a family of 10 that are doing a Greece trip, and there's all kinds of moving parts, there can be what we call a design fee. By the time we add in the transfers, the restaurant reservations, everything that you would like to do on the ground, and the length of time in order to design and execute something like that for you, is there are reasonable fees that we can charge, but we disclose those to you. But I do want to point out that's in a very, very small percentage of the business that we do. So there's real value in working with advisors. And we'd love to have the opportunity to work with any of you related to your travel now or in the future.
Jeff, if I may,
yes.
just add one thing. For me, and I work very closely with Jeff, and I'm one of those who sometimes will work directly, within Travel Concierge, my husband and I, to plan our trips. And then sometimes my husband just wants to do it by ourselves. And hands down, I can now tell you that because of experience, we will always book with an advisor. And that is because, in addition to all of the things that Jeff just described, for me, the value of an advisor is peace of mind. We got stuck in the airport and we didn't get to our destination until 2 days later because my husband booked the trip. We had booked it through Jeff. Trust me, we would have been in the destination close to the time we were supposed to be there. It's the connections, it's the relationships. Jeff and the team can pick up the phone call, get directly to the GM of a hotel or the VP of sales at a cruise line or the VP of business development at an airline and make things happen.
Chris, thank you. And that's, I think it raises an important point. A lot of us think of travel advisors as the pre-planning, right? We're thinking about a trip, we'll make a reservation, we'll place a deposit. There then tends to be 6, 9, 12 months of kind of waiting period, but a lot of questions come up, right? We're there to kind of work you through all of those various pieces of the puzzle. And then your travel starts, and then your travel occurs, and then you come home. There can be a lot of problems between the booking and the returning, as Chris has mentioned. Flight delays, cruise problems, waitlisted shore excursions. I've been on the phone this morning handling some clients who are trying to get shore excursions to see the whales in Alaska, and it's sold out. So we're doing everything we can through the various suppliers that we have in order to offer different alternatives, et cetera, for them. So it's not just the booking part, it's the problem resolution all along the way and when you get home. So I think that's helpful. We think there's a lot of value here, but I also want to say that my particular style, and I hope you sense my heart and my particular style thing, I'm a very flexible kind of guy, and we have clients that go the spectrum. Spectrum number 1 is Chris's husband, Glenn. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to book the Rosewood. I'm a United guy. I'm going to put my miles in. I'm going. I don't want to involve anybody else. And Glenn takes care of it. And I go, Glenn, have fun. I have a friend, Paula. She loves to research. She'll spend hours. She loves it. She plans all of this, all of that. All I did for her was give her 2 ideas. She said, where should we go? And I said, Prague and Paris. She took it from there. On the other end of the spectrum, I have clients that go, we don't even want to think about it. Take care of everything. do the insurance, do the flights, do the this, do the that. Just tell us when and where, and we'll be there. The most of our clients fit in the middle. It's a collaborative design. I think it's a little bit similar. Maybe all of us on the call have at one point or another remodeled a part or all of our home, a kitchen, a bathroom, a backyard, whatever it is. And we all go to the store and we buy Architectural Digest or Home Living or whatever it is that inspires you. And you pick up the picture and you go, I want it to look like that. And then you start your collaboration, maybe with a designer or a contractor or at Home Depot or wherever you like to work. Same for us. I have clients that will say to us, had just this week, a mom and an adult daughter. They wanted to do the UK, Scotland, Prague, Vienna, Salzburg, and Lake Bled. That's all they knew. These were just destinations they wanted to go. And they said, we like museums, churches, and cathedrals, castles, sorry. And they gave me the dates and said, please put it together. And so we've returned to them with a full design. And so the process has become collaborative. And so we go back and forth and say, yep, that's the hotel. No, move that tour over there, do this here. Together, delivered to the client. And I would say that's, for the most part, this kind of collaborative, conversational type of way that we like to work with individuals. I think at the far end are the Glens who do it themselves, and the other end are our clients who say, just call me when I need to be at the airport. And then a large set of our clients are in between.
And then there are also
quite,
I'm sorry, Jeff, there are also quite a few clients who will call Jeff and say, I don't know where I want to go, but this is the experience I want to have. That happens very often. And then in the scenario that Jeff just shared, many, many times Jeff and the team will go back to clients and say, well, you said you wanted these 3 destinations because you like churches and castles. Have you considered these destinations? Because these are even better in terms of an immersive experience than the other 2 that you might have mentioned.
Thank you, Chris. I also would like to say that even though I've mentioned cruises here today, we're involved with the top suppliers in virtually every mode of travel you can imagine. Of course, cruising. Of course, river cruising. But take it a step further. We have a number of very active clients that like biking trips, e-biking trips. We have a number of clients who like walking tours. We have clients who are educational minded, and so they're like, we want enrichment. We have clients that are interested in wine and cooking. We have clients that are interested in arranging a multi-generation trip for all of their family. Oftentimes grandparents these days are planning a trip with their family and their kids and their grandkids. So even though I've only mentioned a few types, we work with companies that provide escorted tour programs. You want to travel with 12 people in Australia, New Zealand, fine. You want to travel with 30, that's fine. You want to travel on your own, just the 2 or 4 of you, and you want something fully customized, we can do that. The whole world is available. And I say the next thing with as much humility as I can, but I mean it. I've been in this industry for 50 years. I don't think anybody's depth of knowledge is better than mine. I'm sure many can meet me. I've lived worldwide, probably worked in every travel organization that there is, hotels, airlines, cruise lines, tour companies, travel insurance businesses. I know this industry in the world like the back of my hand. And because of that, I make very specific choices on the types of suppliers I will recommend to our clients. And there are 4 criteria in terms of why I work with this company and not this company. Number 1, the experience has to be extraordinary. I have to know that when our clients, and those of you watching today, take such and such a trip, a bike trip or a cruise or a trip to Antarctica, or you're hiking up, you're in Nepal, right? And helicoptering over Mount Everest, which we do. Your trip is going to be extraordinary, that you feel you got everything that you paid for. Number 2, that I have trust in the company that we're putting you with, be it Abercrombie & Kent or Silversea or Regent or AMA or Backroads or whoever, Lindblad Expeditions. Number three, I have personal relationships at what I'll call the business development level so that we can work to bring you wonderful products. And number four, I have in my phone right here, probably every senior executive phone number at all travel companies worldwide. If there's any problem, I know who to reach in order to have it solved so that your time, your money, your dreams, your trip are the best that it could possibly be. Okay. I'm going to start to wrap this up, but I do want to mention, I'm going to take another 5 or 10 minutes or so, and then some time for questions and maybe some comments from Chris or Alfie. I wanted to let you know of some things that are coming up in the future. During the month of August, we're going to have what we're calling Webinar Wednesday. You'll get some information about this, but we're going to have 3 separate webinars. They're educational. They're just like this, all right? They're about 50 minutes long. One Wednesday is going to be everything related to cruising with some of our top cruise suppliers that can present their products and some of their promotions, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. Another Wednesday is going to be what I call rail and river. So river cruising as a product and as a destination and as an experience. And then we always like to bring on that our friends at Rocky Mountaineer, who do all the train trips up in the Canadian Rockies. And then our friends from Belmont Rail, who do fancy things like the Scottish Highlander or the Orient Express. Excellent and fascinating, very, very interesting. And then the third one will be what we'll call land and expedition. In the land space, you'll be hearing from some of our biking partners, our walking partners, our photography partners, our natural. If you're into animals all over the world, as one of our clients is, we'll introduce you to a wonderful company called Natural Habitat, which is the world leader in terms of that type of travel. And then what we call expedition. Expedition, please don't think of Shackelford and snowshoes and having to hike across Antarctica. Expedition is the new kind of buzzword for more exotic travel. It used to just be Antarctica or the Arctic Circle. Now it's Easter Island, exploring the South Pacific in submarines. Not the Ocean Explorer, by the way, but wonderful types of experiences there. So you'll have a chance to register and attend those if you'd like some more information. And then after the first of the year, probably late January, early February, we're going to have an in-person travel show, I think, experience in either Fort Myers or Naples, which you're all welcome to attend. We're going to do it that time of year because many of our snowbirds will be back in Florida at that point, so you'll be hearing some information about that. And finally, I just wanted to say that doing this for as long as I have, I often have wonderful clients that say, Jeff, where are you going and can we go with you? And when I was a little guy in travel, I used to be a tour guide in Hawaii. So I used to be the guy that would, when they did this, I would greet you at the Honolulu International Airport with a lei. That was a long time ago. And would take you to see Diamond Head and Pearl Harbor and all that stuff. So now that I'm a little bit older, yes, we arrange some trips that you can accompany us on. And we have, I'm just going to tease you. Next year, we have Tulips, Windmills, and Bridges, which is Amsterdam and Holland in May. That's a biking trip with back roads. Then a Rhine River cruise, if you'd like to join us on that, that's in May. We have a really extraordinary trip from Dublin to Copenhagen. It's Ireland and Scotland and some pieces of Norway by sea. So if you haven't been to the western side of Scotland, and northern side, this is a great way to see that. We have an Alaska trip, and that's in July. I'll be hosting that one. That's on Silversea's newest ship. And right after that, the very popular Rocky Mountaineer from Vancouver to Banff. You can do Alaska plus that or just the rail part. And then this trip, I've never done this one before, and I'm going for the first time in September. A few companies now do Great Lakes cruising. And there's a company called Ponant, and they have a trip in September, fall colors of 2025, from Toronto to Milwaukee, partnering with the Smithsonian Institution. So think of very lovely trip, but educational as well. And Lake Erie and Huron and Superior and Michigan and Sault Ste. Marie and Mackinac Island, et cetera. And then finally, we have a Western Mediterranean, Lisbon to Barcelona. That's in October. It includes Morocco, all the islands of Spain, Gibraltar. We're going to introduce these through email in a week or two, but I just wanted to whet your appetite if you're like, we're not sure who we can go with. We want to go with somebody fun. And we always have a great time. With that, let me see what questions we may have that came in. Hang on here.
I do not see any.
We'll be delighted to take any questions you have. Please have them here.
Hey,
Would
Jeff.
anyone like to ask a question, or Alfie, please jump in.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. You ever met Don Hohen? Wasn't it Don Hohen?
I did. I used to sing Tiny Bubbles. So there you go.
I'm glad that was a used to.
Yes, thank you.
So these trips that are coming up, these are ones that you're doing, and who's going to be on those trips?
Just clients and friends, right? So it's all of the clients from ARG or some other clients that we have across the United States. It's kind of open to whoever would wish to travel with us. And now that everybody on today is part of the Travel Concierge family through ARG, they're kind of invited overall to join with us if they like.
No,
these are not your typical hosted experiences. I've been on quite a few of these trips with Jeff, and I can tell you, and Jeff and I are good friends. We've worked together for many, many years, but I can tell you 2 days go by and I don't see Jeff. So it's not we wake up, we all meet for breakfast. There might be a welcome reception. We might have some planned dinners. You're welcome to join. If not, and you were just welcome literally to sit on the airplane and know that Jeff or some of the other team members or Travel Concierge are on that ship with you or in that hotel with you, so that if you need something special, they're there. Or if you encounter a problem, they're there.
And Alfie, and for everybody on today, I love to laugh. I think I have a great sense of humor. You'll have to get to know me a little bit, but I don't have a whistle and I don't have a flag as the tour guide. I'm not the Chinese, follow me kind of. No, we'll be there. Join us if you want to have fun, meet some new friends. Spend all the time by yourself or join us for dinner. Completely up to you. But it's just a lot of folks enjoy, they meet new friends, and that's half the fun of travel. New relationships that form.
Okay, I think we have a question. What cruise line do you recommend for the Rhine River cruise?
So great question. Thank you very much. So for those of you who don't know anything about river cruise, let me just give you 2 quick minutes on the rivers. So in European rivers, there's 3 choices. Rhine River, which is generally Amsterdam to Basel, then the Danube, and then which is generally Munich down to Budapest, and then you can go Budapest to Bucharest. I can't remember the name of the third river, but essentially the whole waterway goes, and you can do your trip generally they're 8 days, section 1, section 2, section 3. You can combine them all or just do one. The most popular is the Amsterdam to Basel trip. You get Switzerland, France, Germany, Holland, Luxembourg, etc. The companies we enjoy working with, and by the way, there's about 10 river cruise companies that are on the itinerary, and everybody essentially stops in the same place. Think about it, right? It's the river. You go here, 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 here. We love one of our great partners is AMA Waterways. We also work with oftentimes with Viking, Riverside, which is one of the new companies that took place after Crystal Cruises went out of business, and a company called Scenic. My personal favorite is AMA. I call it AMA. It's AMA Waterways. That's the company, by the way, I mentioned that you can hold space for $400 per person and lock things in. It's a wonderful experience, nice inclusions, and a good value.
And intimate, right? So
Yeah.
how many guests typically?
Around
per-
190. Keep in mind that in a river cruising was essentially barges, where Rudy, the guy that founded AMA, is really the father of river cruising. And they just started taking passengers. You have to think about it. The height of a ship is limited by the bridges, and the width of a ship is limited by the width of the river. And so all cruise ships, except in one, are generally the same size and hold about 190 passengers and have 3 decks.
Nice.
Any other questions?
Well, just listening to you talk, Jeff, obviously you know what you're talking about, and I think a lot of not just people on this call, but we're gonna let this go out to all of our clients. I think they're gonna get very excited about, probably gonna be getting a lot of phone calls to take some money out, but that's what it's all about. That's okay.
Alfie, that's your part.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll first have them take it out of savings and then there.
Exactly.
No, but you know, people, this is what I always say. As an advisor, I want our clients to feel like they can spend with confidence, okay? And they can afford these trips. And I show them, you know, we show them here that you can afford this. Take your family, take some time, your spouse, to go and experience something that you always wanted to do. A lot of people always want to do something, but they don't know how to get to it. And
Right.
and this is a great, you know, I like the fact that Chris said, you know, if you don't know where you want to go, talk to Jeff, and he can put something together for you. So I think this is a great addition to what we're, you know, accomplishing here at the Advanced Retirement Group. So
That's super.
we're excited for this partnership for sure.
And
Thank
as
you.
are we, Alfie. So we're delighted and can't begin to tell you how much we look forward to continuing to work with you and getting to know your clients. With that being said, Patricia asked, how do we get in touch to talk about planning? So I did put Jeff's email in the response. Jeff, make sure that's correct, because I always spell his name wrong.
Yep. That's fine. And everybody, you can go to jefflavender.com, click on travel. I'm called Travel Concierge by Jeff Lavender. You can get to me 2 ways. You can do jefflavender.com, click on travel, or TC, which stands for Travel Concierge.jefflavender.com. It takes you to the same place. Please, what you'll find in there, by the way, please take a look at Meet the Team. It's not just me. I've got wonderful people behind us, team of 7 or 8 here. We have probably 60 in the support network behind us. We have people that can handle your international air travel. We have a whole team that works on nothing but the best hotels for you. We have a team that works on what we'll call special services, the transfers, the private transfers, the restaurant reservations, some private sightseeing, et cetera. So there's a whole infrastructure behind us that can take great care of you.
I'm also,
Sure.
so we have a dedicated splash page too. That it's a dedicated splash page for ARG clients. And I am pulling that page up, and I'm also going to put it in the link, but that's a really easy way. Tell Jeff's phone number is there. It's linked to the website that Jeff was talking about. And then there's also a place there where you can request a consultation. So that too might be easy. And then we will be following up for anybody who did subscribe to the dedicated ARGTC email, and there are about 40 of you thus far. We will be sending out periodically. We promise not to inundate your inbox, but we will be, sending periodic emails out, and there'll always be contact information and a simple link for you to contact us there as well.
Jeff, let me ask just a quick question before we get going.
Sure.
I know we opportunity to meet you in person, not me, but our family, and then also some of the hosts of that would be hosting these. That's going to be sometime in January we're looking for, or February?
Yes, the in-person, late January, early February, but webinars before that during the month of August.
Okay. Okay. So month of January or August. Okay. And how much time do you need? I know each trip is custom for clients, but how much time is realistic that you need to put a trip together on an average?
Great. Maximum 5 days. I just had this example this week. Our two clients who were interested in the London, Scotland, Prague, Vienna, et cetera, et cetera. The turn time on working with the ground teams in those countries is about that. For cruises and what I'll call, I hate to use the phrase more off the shelf, but it kind of is, those are generally a day or two. I think if we're talking and people are considering what could I do, there tends to be a back and forth. Let's take the instance of the river cruise idea. There might be a discussion on which line, which cabin type. And oftentimes what we like to do is send suggestions and say, you could do this, this, or this, here are the prices. And then we like individuals to take some time and talk it over with who they're traveling with. So I would say from the point of discussion, and here's some things, to the point of booking, sometimes there's a 2 to 3 week lag between, oh, that's a nice trip, but let me think about the dates. Let me make sure that's what I'd like to do. Let me plan to see if anyone else would like to go with us. Yeah. So there's really no pressure other than we like to see you lock in a price. But at the same time, these are important investments. And so we want to give everybody time to think it through.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it.
Jeff, another question came in from TJ.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
I think I understand the question. I said, I think, TJ, I'm not sure exactly what you meant, but what do you add to a Viking cruise that has a concierge already? If you've already, I'm not sure if you're talking about the pre-booking and planning or the concierge on board the ship. We don't add a lot if you're working with the concierge on board the ship, just as in working with the concierge at the hotel. If you were staying there and you reached out to them, once you're in property or on the ship, et cetera, your main point of contact would be the concierge team. If you're talking about the thinking, planning, booking process up front, I would say if you're a loyal Viking guest and you like that brand, oftentimes you can just continue to use that. But if you're thinking about other options, and just an assessment of company A versus company B, we can help you and present you other ways that you might think about your trip. I hope, TJ, that helped answer your question. If it didn't, please reach out to me privately and we can discuss that.
Perfect.
I think he said pre-booking.
Pre-booking.
Yes, it was a follow-up.
Okay.
I would say it's always fine for individuals who like to book directly with a cruise line, an airline, et cetera. Once you do that, it's kind of locked in. So if you make your booking with Viking or Regent or others, that's the relationship now that you have. You're considered a direct client. I can't get involved in that because you've made your reservation directly with them. Sometimes with your approval, we can step in, but that's one of the reasons why once I think you've decided either to book directly or through us, once you're direct, you need to work that relationship with Viking on your own. If we were involved in the beginning, we kind of act as your agent or intermediary in a sense.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right.
So I have included, for the many of you who want to know how to get in touch with us, on the right-hand side in the meeting chat, I have included Jeff's email address. I included the URL to that page. There's a nice message from Alfie, a message from Jeff, links to meet the team, and some other really good information on that page. It's not overwhelming, but then easy way for you to contact Jeff that way. And then also I've included, for those who just prefer to pick up the phone and call, I included Jeff's number as well. So no excuse.
Thank you.
We know how to get in touch with him.
We want to be sensitive to everybody's time. We said an hour. And so we're just coming up on that. I'd like to say thank you again, Alfie and the team at ARG, for the opportunity to address your wonderful clients. Please know of our commitment to serve them well. And for all of my new friends, please let me know how my team and I can be of help to you as you think through exploring the wonderful world of travel.
Well, thank you guys for your time, and thank you for sharing what you do. And now I think we all know that we have to travel in style if we're in travel. Let's do it. Okay, thank you.
Amen.
Thank
Okay.
you all.
Okay, bless
Thanks
you
so
all.
much.
Bye-bye now.
You too. Bye-bye.